Resistance represents one of medicine's most important challenges. Hello everyone, my name is Krishiv Potluri, and today I'm thrilled to share my research with you, developing an innovative solution through computational protein design. By combining advanced deep learning with molecular simulation techniques, I've essentially created a framework that not only addresses antibiotic resistance, but potentially transforms how we approach therapeutic protein development as a whole. So let me walk you through the process and the benefits it provides. Every year, more bacteria develop resistance to our more crucial antibiotics, and such an extreme example is TEM171 beta-lactamase, an enzyme that renders many antibiotics ineffective by breaking down their core structure. And so my approach to this problem is not just to improve upon existing treatments, but to develop a completely new approach to protein-based inhibitor design. So let me start off with this illustration. What you're seeing here is a process taking place in bacterial infections. On the left, we have penicillin and other beta-lactam antibiotics, historically some of the most effective tools against bacterial infections. And in the middle here, we have beta-lactamase, specifically the TEM171 variant, which as seen follows the arrow and binds to penicillin, distorting its structure and rendering it ineffective. And so this is where my innovation comes in. I've essentially developed a protein-based binder that acts like an inhibitor, binding to TEM171 beta-lactamase so strongly that it prevents the enzyme from destroying our antibiotics, as it malforms the overall fit of beta-lactamase into penicillin and other beta-lactam antibiotics, which prevents this antimicrobial resistance from ever occurring in the first place. And so from the top, to tackle this challenge, I built a computational infrastructure that leverages the power of modern deep learning, and at its core are NVIDIA A100 GPUs with 80 gigabytes of video memory, deployed through cloud platforms such as Google Colab and Brev.dev, which is another similar cloud computing platform. And so moving on to section 3, the heart of this research lies in the dual platform approach to protein design. And first, let's talk about ARF diffusion. Traditional methods typically rely on modifying existing protein structures, but ARF diffusion takes a radically different approach. And so looking at image 3.1.1, you can see how we start with pure noise and systematically transform it into a functional protein structure, which mirrors quantum mechanical principles. The forward diffusion process begins with a well-defined protein structure and progressively adds Gaussian noise following a calibrated schedule. And so you can think of this as slowly unfolding a protein into randomness, but in a controlled and more mathematically rigorous way. The noise addition follows what we call an annealing schedule, where each step preserves certain geometric relationships while also allowing for structural variation. And this isn't just random perturbation. It is a specific process that maintains the physical possibility of the protein structure throughout. And what makes ARF diffusion particularly important is the reverse process. It uses denoising networks trained on thousands of protein structures, and it guides the random noise into forming precise functional proteins. And so in my implementation, I designed specific geometric constraints called contigs that ensure proper spatial positioning relative to the TEM171 binding site. The process generates 32 distinct designs per iteration, which includes everything from basic geometric criteria like bond lengths and angles to much more complex evaluation of backbone torsion angles and sidechain rotamer distributions. Now turning to Minecraft, we see a complementary but fundamentally different approach. As shown in image 3.2.1, Minecraft employs what we call evolutionary guided optimization. And this isn't just a simple mutation and selection, it's a sophisticated 4-stage optimization protocol that simultaneously refines both the sequence and the structure. And so the process begins with the initial backbone and sequence co-design using AlphaFold 2. And what's particularly significant here is how Minecraft implements variable soft parameters ranging from 0.02 to 0.9, which allows it to explore sequence structure space thoroughly while also maintaining realistic constraints. And the platform monitors multiple structural and energetic parameters simultaneously, including loss function convergence, helix formation propensity, and radius of gyration constraints. And so when we look at the comparative results in section 3.3, we see how ARF diffusion generated around 2040 sequences with consistently high structure confidence, while Minecraft produced only 67 highly refined designs. And in the end, this essential quality versus quantity trade-off became crucial in deriving the optimal inhibitor design, which was eventually chosen from Minecraft. And so moving on to section 4, AlphaFold's 2 analysis of the chosen binder interlaced the binder protein complex with TEM171 beta-lactamase, and it revealed strong predicted contacts at the interface region, shown by the distinct patterns in the contact maps. And the high confidence scores, consistent interface predictions, and well-defined structural elements all point to this design exhibiting the stability and specificity needed for therapeutic applications. And looking at the broader implications of these validation results, they not only confirm the quality of the specific design, but they also validate the overall computational approach. The ability to achieve such high confidence predictions for a de novo designed protein-protein complex demonstrates the power of integrating advanced deep learning methods with traditional biophysical principles in therapeutic protein design. And so while the AlphaFold 2 validation provided excellent static structural predictions, proteins are inherently dynamic molecules. They don't just sit still, they move, they flex, and they adapt to their environment. And these movements can be either crucial for function, or conversely, they can reveal potential instabilities in the design. And so molecular dynamics simulations allow us to watch this unfold in atomic detail. And AlphaFold 3's improved architecture provided additional validation through specialized interface prediction capabilities. The system's attention mechanism revealed precise binding interface predictions with high confidence scores, as you can see in the picture. And so onto the production MD simulations. I could go over all these individual images one by one, but the explanations for them are listed in the text box here. I want to really highlight that what makes these results particularly significant is their implications for therapeutic applications. Traditional protein-based drugs often struggle with the balance between stability and flexibility, and this design demonstrates what we call dynamic stability, which is the ability to maintain core therapeutic interactions while also accommodating the natural dynamics of protein behavior. And this characteristic suggests that the inhibitor can maintain long-term efficacy while also resisting the development of resistance mechanisms as seen in TEM171 beta-lactamase. And so the advanced molecular dynamics simulations serve primarily to understand how the protein inhibitor functions. And this is all in section 8. These advanced simulations showcase a few things. First, the binding strength between the inhibitor and the TEM171 beta-lactamase complex proved significantly stronger than typical protein interactions, suggesting that it would maintain its therapeutic effect under biological conditions. And the simulations showed that the inhibitor detaches from TEM171 in a specific step-by-step manner, rather than suddenly breaking away, which is a strong characteristic of well-designed protein therapeutics. The results indicate that the inhibitor achieves both the binding strength and the stability needed for therapeutic applications, whilst also maintaining the specific interactions required to block TEM171's ability to break down antibiotics. And so to wrap up the project, in the end, the implications of this research extend far beyond the immediate challenge of antibiotic resistance. What I've developed here represents not just a solution to one problem, but essentially an overall paradigm shift in how we approach therapeutic protein design as a whole. And so let me re-emphasize three main transformative aspects of this work. First, the computational framework demonstrates unprecedented efficiency in generating viable therapeutic candidates by achieving protein design validation in just 4.8 hours per generation of a candidate, regardless successful or not. I've established a pipeline that can dramatically accelerate drug development timelines. Also, this efficiency doesn't come at the cost of quality. The design inhibitor shows a much more and much stronger improvement in binding affinity compared to existing treatments, as it is much more cost-effective and feasible to reproduce. Second, the technical scalability of this approach opens new possibilities in protein therapeutics. The stability analysis, including time-dependent RMSD plots, interface contact persistence, and energy conservation metrics, validate not just the specific inhibitor that we've designed, but the entire computational framework. And this validation suggests that the approach could be adapted to target other disease-relevant proteins, potentially changing as a whole how we develop treatments for a range of medical conditions. And third, and perhaps most significantly, this work establishes a new paradigm in therapeutic development. The integration of AlphaFold 2, protein MPNN, RF diffusion, Bindcraft, and advanced molecular dynamic platforms creates a reproducible pipeline for designing virtually any protein-based drugs based on the cause. And so in closing, this research offers hope in the large ongoing battle against antimicrobial resistance, and it also establishes a broader vision for the future of therapeutic development. As we look ahead, the methodologies and insights developed here could accelerate the ability to address emerging medical challenges with precisely designed protein therapeutics, potentially transforming how we approach disease treatment in the coming decades as a whole. Thank you for listening to my presentation and the work here that I accomplished. And thank you for Davidson Institute for sponsoring this video.